So Onnow is basically a cloud kitchen company which owns 0 cloud kitchens.
Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of The Clueless Capitalist. My name is Razi.
And I'm Osman, and together we're the Clueless Capitalist.
So for this episode, we have Tahmid from Onnow, who's joining us for this special episode, and he's going to share with us about his startup Onnow, where what they do is to empower SME restaurants in emerging markets through technology, virtual menu concepts, training, and digital branding. Onnow won the Impact Collective Fund Korea last year as one of the 10 winners, and just yesterday, I think, or 2 days ago, they officially joined the Techne Venture Builder Program, which is a hospitality-focused accelerator program based out of Silicon Valley. So thank you, Tahmid, for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you, Raji, for having me, and thank you, Osman.
So maybe we could get started with you explaining to us what does Onnow do?
So Onnow is basically a cloud kitchen company which owns 0 cloud kitchens. So that's the easiest way I can put it through. We are incorporated in Singapore, and we have picked Bangladesh as our first country where we've entered. Obviously, Bangladesh is a country of over 165 million people, where 50% of the population are under the age of 30. So we felt this is the country that we can start. But obviously, our focus is to empower SME restaurants all across emerging markets in Asia. So, yeah, I mean, we started with Bangladesh, let's win this market, and gradually we'll get into markets like India, Pakistan, and the other markets nearby.
Okay, that's really interesting. A cloud kitchen company with 0 cloud kitchens.
I think let's go through your pitch deck and let's and let us and the audience hear how you would typically position Onnow, and we can take it from there.
Onnow is the name itself comes from the Bengali word Onnow, which basically means food, or let's put it this way, staple rice, something like that. So it's all about food that we do. So we are an internet restaurant platform for SME restaurants, as I've already mentioned, and I am Tahmid, and I'm the CEO of Onnow. So as we speak, over 1 million SME restaurants, where 42 million people are working, are struggling due to the fierce competition they face from large corporation, large restaurant chains who obviously got access to better tech. They have access to better brand names, lower cost of operations, and much higher marketing budgets. But on the other side, the small restaurants, they don't actually have the capacity at this point, and obviously with rising food cost and everything, so they don't have the capacity to compete with the large restaurant chain. So that's where we come in. We have developed an asset-light cloud kitchen operation where we actually want to help those SME restaurants to compete with the large restaurant chain. It's a very complicated diagram, but let me make it very easy for you. So basically, we are doing 2 innovations. Number one is obviously, unlike other cloud kitchen companies, we do not invest in building actual cloud kitchens. We utilize the underutilized kitchen space and resources inside SME restaurants. So we give our Onnow virtual brands to them. They produce the food for us, and apart from that, everything else like marketing, order generation, R&D, technology, everything is actually done from our end. So we also help them with the third-party logistics connection. We also help them with the aggregator order creation and everything. All they have to do is they get the meal kits from us. They get all the raw materials from us. They have to buy it from us. And then they have to follow our SOPs and prepare the food as per the order. So that's pretty much all they do. So for the last 1.5 years, we have been building all these very unique food concepts, unique in their own ways with exciting packaging and all that. So these are our IPs, which means that we own all these virtual brands, and you can only order these brands online. So our model is a combination of just-in-time, OEM, and franchise, where we just package I'd say 95% of the ingredients comes from our central standardization hubs, which actually sends the raw materials once the our restaurant partners have placed an order on our Onnow operating system. So this is kind of how we do the packaging, and then we send it to the restaurant so that they can follow our SOPs and make the food. So why now? As I've already mentioned, Bangladesh is having over 100 million internet users. Bangladesh has a very, I'd say, young population with increasing disposable income. Online food delivery is growing at a rate of 28% across emerging markets in Asia. And obviously, SME restaurants are currently having this big problem of survival. So what we say is the online food delivery market is almost $45 billion, but we also see that there is a much bigger supply chain market also within this. So that is also something that we are very much interested in also. So in terms of competition, there are a couple of companies out there in the market, especially in Bangladesh, companies like CP Chicken, Kazi Farms. They also do the very similar franchise business, but the only difference is they're very much focused towards dining, whereas we are focused towards virtual. So we have a heavy focus on tech. We have a heavy focus on D2C also. So the thing is, our brands are fully digital and can only be ordered online. So even after buying all the raw materials from us, the restaurant partners make almost 30 to 35% profit. So which is quite good. For example, a few of my partners are able to pay 50% of their staff cost only from the profit they make by doing our brands from the kitchen. So as we speak, in the last 4 months, we have added 42 internet restaurants, so which I believe will touch almost 120 by the end of this year. So we are growing at a rapid pace. Almost we are growing at a 40% month-on-month growth in terms of GMV and our net revenue. So technology plays a big role in what we do, starting from placing an order for the raw materials and until the food is delivered to the end consumer. The whole tech stack is developed in-house, so we control every part of the ordering process. We control every part of the production process, and our restaurant partners have access to the whole Onnow operating system. So our team with over 25 years of actual business experience. I have previously co-founded a 50 million turnover retail company. Nafir had an award-winning restaurant in Singapore. Dhrubajit has been working in the tech side for almost 5 years in Singapore. And Choyon has over 10 years of experience in MNCs. So in terms of traction, until 25 of May, we generated over $200,000 GMV. However, I have to remind you that we are a real revenue company. That means 60% of the GMV actually goes into our revenues. And we have catered over 80,000 orders and delivered over 135,000 items. So as of now, we have been raising our seed round. Previously, we did our pre-seed. Now we're doing our seed round of $250,000. And we have also received an investment from the Ventures Korea after winning Impact Collective. We are raising an investment from Silicon Valley Techne Ventures. And then we are raising investment from a couple of angel investors in Saudi, in Bangladesh. And on top of it, we have a space for $100,000. So we are closing that within the next 2 months. So our impact vision is to build a digitized, sustainable, and safe restaurant industry where it's safe for the employees who work here. It's safe for the people who eat the food, and it's also safe for the people who invested in the sector, the restaurant owners. So going forward, we have a big dream. I would say there are a couple of very interesting concepts that is unique to Bangladesh and Bangladeshi cuisine that we want to take across the globe and to other markets in other emerging markets in Asia. So that's also something that we are working on, how we can take our brands across the globe. Finally, I just wanted to say that the government of Bangladesh actually recognized us as the top 9 startups in Bangladesh. We have also received a grant from the ICT division. We have been supported by Telenor Group, which runs the Grameenphone Accelerator, and we have been part of it. And then obviously, as you have mentioned before, we have been a winner at Impact Collective, which is one of the largest accelerator program for impact-driven startups in Asia. So yeah, that's pretty much all about Onnow. So happy to welcome any question.
Thank you, Tahmid. So thank you for bringing us through your pitch deck. As you were sharing that, one of the many questions that came to my mind was this one, where you mentioned that you exited a previous company which was $50 million and you exited in 2019. So
Yeah.
what inspired you to start Onnow? Like, what's the story behind that?
Yeah. So, okay, let's go back to that company. So it was a retail company in a very traditional format, right? And what we were seeing was that obviously it was kind of a combination of a family business also, where we had my father, my elder brother, we were all part of this, and then we had other investors and shareholders also. And what I felt personally was the growth was very slow. The company is very traditional. They don't have much of a technology play in that. So I wanted to be part of something that obviously has tech. And on top of it, I have been a home cook for last 12 years, so I am very much passionate about food. So I was exploring in which domain we could, explore both tech and food at the same time. And then I came across a cloud kitchen company in Canada. So he actually introduced me to this new world of business where things are very much digital, things are very much invisible in a sense that you don't know where the food is coming from. So I found it very exciting, and then I reached out to Nafur and then Choyon, and then I shared, hey, this is something very exciting that we can do in Bangladesh. So no one's doing it. So, but then later on, I realized that a company called Cludio was also doing the same. But then, we thought of doing cloud kitchens, basic cloud kitchens, and have, let's say, 50 cloud kitchens across Bangladesh. But then little we knew that, this is not a very much scalable model. And once we started speaking to a lot of VCs, we realized that, this is actually not investable, this is not scalable. So we then stopped the whole cloud kitchen concept and then moved to this concept of where we don't necessarily own any cloud kitchen. So that's how things happened eventually.
Okay, so that's quite an interesting origin story. So you exited from that family business, and then because you're a home cook and you had friends who owned restaurants, and then someone introduced you to this concept in Canada, and that's how you brought it to Bangladesh. Very interesting.
Just run by me again what makes you stand out differently from that. And I understand the fact that you're not running your own cloud kitchen, but what makes you think that your operational model is more scalable and more investable?
Yeah, so just wanted to touch upon those two things that I have mentioned previously. So that makes us very different from Cludio, which do not exist anymore. But one of them obviously being that we do not build kitchens, which Cludio was doing. They were building kitchens, and that was obviously very much capital intensive. So you are not investing investors' money in actually growth. You're putting the money in building something, building assets basically, which obviously has a very high depreciation, restaurant equipment and all that. So we didn't want to go to that route anymore. So we changed into this asset-light model. And another one would be we envisioned a kind of a McDonald's that we want to replicate in the virtual world. So we focus a lot on our centralized standardization hub. So that is a kind of a factory which gets goods from different suppliers, adds value to it, and then prepares meal kits and send to the restaurant partners, which makes their life so easier. So that is also something I'd say that's very much innovative about Onnow also. So we focus so much on the supply chain side and working on those kits, right? So that is also something that obviously Cludio was not doing. So these are the two main things. But additionally, what I felt was at this point, when Cludio started, it was I don't think it was the best decision to go into building their own apps. So what we did was, rather than investing money in building our own app, we focused on building a very good partnership with aggregators. So our key partners are Patao and Hungry Naki. Hungry Naki obviously owned by Daraz, which is owned by Alibaba, and Patao is the largest ride-sharing platform in Bangladesh. So we have a very good relationship with these two companies, and they actually consider our brands as their own brands. So they also help us in this whole, I'd say, when we enter a new market every month, we are adding 4 to 5 partners. So whenever there's a new outlet out there, we get immense support from those guys. So that's what we felt, relationship is key. And this is also, again, something that George taught me in Canada, that, if you want to do something, you have to build a very good relationship with the aggregators, because they're going to eventually get you the orders.
Okay, and if you can just talk through the aggregator model, because you've talked about tech as well. So what role does your tech play with the aggregator model? How does that all work?
Yeah. So what we're doing now is, for every restaurants out there, and this is not happening now, but this is what we are planning to do, is every restaurant will get this device, and our Onnow operating system will be connected through an API with the aggregators. So once the end consumer places an order on, let's say, Patao and Hungry Naki, so the order will directly come into our system, and then we can transfer it to the available restaurants out there. So the whole, I'd say, the KDS, so the kitchen management system, everything. So we'll know exactly which kitchen is busy, which partner is not busy. And since we'll be having, let's say, one outlet every 250 meters, because obviously we want to do things very hyper local also. So what happens is we know exactly which kitchen is busy, which kitchen is available. So we're going to push the orders automatically from our system. So that's what we're working on, building an API with those partners.
Okay, so that tech isn't here yet. It's still in development.
No. So we're developing it in phase by phase. So this model, actually, we have started officially only 6 months ago. So we were doing everything wrong before that. So we were doing all the cloud kitchen and all that. So we had to close it down and then move to this model. So it's only 6 months that we're doing. So for now, what we have is basically we have the ordering system in place where our restaurant partners can place order to our kitchens. And then, we can obviously run our centralized standardization hub also using the same software. So that's what we're building. Going forward, obviously, we're going to add all these features as I also mentioned just now.
Okay, and that's I think for the viewers that are watching, this is really important because it's not a weakness if you identify that you're not doing something right and you're changing. I've said it before and I'll say it again. The companies that you invest in on day one are not necessarily the company that you'll exit on day 10. There's a good chance that the companies will pivot as they go along, and that's perfectly acceptable and normal, and vastly different to a lot of the big, large companies that you see today that take a lot of time to analyze the data, work out what's working, what's not going right, get consensus, and then move. By the time they've moved, the market's moved. Here, what you're doing is you're identifying something very quickly, identifying what's not working, and either dropping it, adapting it, effectively pivoting to something that does work. And it shouldn't be seen by investors as a bad thing, but seen as a positive that you're able to quickly identify what's working, what's not working, and making that change. So just going back into the comment that you made earlier on as well, that you're an asset-light model. Walk me through what you would class as an asset and what is asset-light in this case.
Yeah. So let's put it this way. In our virtual restaurant business, obviously the key assets are the kitchen equipments, the kitchen real estate, and obviously anything associated with cooking, right? So that's where we don't invest money in. So previously we were doing, so you want to open up a kitchen, minimum you have to spend $25,000 to $30,000. So you open up 3 kitchen, almost $100,000 is gone. So that's where we don't want to invest our money in. So we want to invest money in marketing, business development, and building brands and doing the continuous R&D with our products. So that will allow us to scale and then put our whole focus in growth. Again, by all means, there are companies out there like Kitopi, so Rebel Foods, they have raised millions to invest in kitchens, right? But what we felt is that for Bangladesh, it's not a matter of joke to raise Rebel standard or Kitopi standard. So it's not going to happen now. Maybe if it was a different market, we could have gone that route. I mean, that could have worked. But for Bangladesh, we felt this is an opportunity because there's so many restaurants out there sitting idle, underutilized. So this is actually a bigger problem. So that's what we felt, okay, this is the right thing to do at this point. And obviously, we are active learners. We have spoke to like almost 100 VCs out there. We have taken all the feedback, and not that all the feedbacks were appropriate, but yeah, we did get very common feedback from a lot of experts in the field. And so we thought, okay, no, if there's so many people, the experts are saying this, so maybe we're doing something in a wrong way. So let's go back to the drawing board and then let's see how we can do it in a way that their money is actually put into growth. So then after almost, I'd say, a week of, going back to the scratch board, doing the things again, we decided, no, this is not going to work. So we'll move into this new model where we don't actually put money in the equipments. So there's so many people who already invested in the equipment. So rather we partner up with them.
Okay, and that again is a good segue into like when we compare ourselves to other industries. What blew the mind of most people when Uber came to prominence was they were a ride-hailing company with zero assets. They had no cars, they had no drivers. They didn't need to have a big employment payroll. They didn't need to invest billions in vehicles because they were already there. They were just underutilized, and what they were doing was just matching demand with supply, and that's kind of what you're doing here with the fact that you've got big supply in terms of kitchens, lots of people running them, and the demand is there from the consumer side, But what people lack is the consistency of product and quality of product. And if you're able to utilize the resources that are already there, everyone's a winner. The restaurant owner sees higher utilization, and the consumer gets consistent quality produce at the end of the day.
Exactly. And I just wanted to add a few things. Obviously, operational wise, we had to make certain changes. So I don't think anyone else were doing anything like this. So we have developed a team of, quality control officers, the field force. These are not like they're like expert in knowing, when the SOP is not being followed. So we have trained them in this way. So this field force, their job is to, visit the partners regularly and then make sure that they're following our SOPs, right? That's one thing. On top of it, we obviously utilize our hub, the central hub, which actually does 95% of the work anyway. So the restaurants do not have much to do. So it's I'd say only 5% value addition that they're doing. So even after doing 5% value addition, they make almost 30 to 35% profit, which is a great deal for them. And hence we have almost 50 partners waiting in the pipeline that we could not activate yet. So that's amazing. I mean, we feel good because and the word of mouth is spreading like crazy. So people are, a lot of restaurant partners, they don't know about this concept. So we're doing PR with different newspapers, writing articles in Bengali in very simple terms, what we exactly do, where the innovation is. So that way we're getting an amazing response from the partners. And our existing partners, obviously, since it's a new model, there's also a lot of learning out there. So they're sharing, what is not working for them, what data they need regularly. So that input also we're putting into our Onnow operating system. So our partners, whatever data they need, they don't have to reach out to us anymore. So we're going to put it on their dashboard so they can see how much money they're making, what orders they're getting, how many returning customers, how many new customers. Every data will be there on the dashboard. So we're also, this way we're making it much easier for the partners also to understand whether they're actually making money or not.
I have a clueless question about this, right? So you mentioned that you have so many of these brands, right? Halim Guys, you have Num Num and whatnot. So let's say the three of us let's say there's Razi's Biryani Shop and Osman's Biryani Shop and Tahmid's Biryani Shop. And all of us are located 250 meters or 500 meters apart. And we all decide to take the brand Halim Guys.
Yeah.
Right? So how does that look like? So if someone orders online via the app, they get routed to either one of our shops which has the Halim Guys brand, and do I already have a set amount of Halim in my shop that I can just prepare and send over? How does it work? I still don't understand these proprietary brands and how much quantity do I need to do, and if multiple restaurants have multiple, in addition to what they already sell, they already might be selling biryani, suddenly they're adding in like a burger to their store. Like, how does it all of this work?
Okay, I'll just walk you through on the onboarding process. Yeah, so very simple. Okay, so what we see is at first what equipments you have. If you don't have all the equipment that is needed for burger, you're not getting the burger run anyway. Okay, so what we also look into is your team's expertise. Okay, so if they're biryani guys, 100% burger is not happening. So we will give you something else, right? That is more desi cuisine, right? So let's say you take Halim Guys and there's another restaurant 200 meters and then Osman is doing Halim Guys also. The thing is, we let the audience decide based on your ratings and reviews, right? So if you're a good outlet, you'll get orders. If you don't, have the proper quality, you're never getting orders, right? And then eventually you will miss out. So we let the consumers decide on that. So what this is on the aggregators app, right? But on top of it, when it comes to the D2C that we are building in a very different way, it's not even live yet, but what we are planning to do is basically the customer will still see what space you have. So let's say if your kitchen is super busy, then it will take more time. So the customers will know, no, I want the food right now. This is hyper local. I want within 20 minutes. So let me pick one which is close by and also which is also free. I'll pick that one. So the whole decision making, we are putting it on the consumers and where they want to order. But they will have a lot of options. So it's not that we're going to force them. You have to take it from Razi's biryani. So if you don't like Razi's biryani, go and take from Osman. Because they can see where the food is actually coming from in terms of the name, right? They'll see the address also. So that's on them. And I'll just add to that the amount, the portion, right? So eventually, let's say within 7 days and 10 days, we know what this outlet can do. So our system basically tells the partners how much food they have to order based on the projection of the next 3 days sales. because they have to have certain stock also, right? So this is again automated. So the system will tell the partners how much they have to order.
Okay, so now maybe just to check my understanding, right? So what happens is you have all of these brands that you've developed, and you're adding more brands. And in future, the D2C app that you will the B2C app that you'll launch, it is going to allow me to order any one of these brands, right? So I'm not ordering from any particular restaurant. I'm ordering the brand, and the restaurant that has the capacity and has taken on these brands, they will earn this extra revenue.
100%. And even now, if you order from, let's say, Pathao or Hangi Naki, same way, you can see a couple of Halim guys out there from your location. You decide where do you want to order from. So, no one's pushing you to order from Osman. So that's fine.
And in terms of the raw material purchases, the restaurant will only purchase the raw materials that are relevant to the brands that they carry, right? So it's not like in future I can buy 20 kilos of onion, 100 kilos of dairy from you. That's not going to happen, right? In future.
I mean, not going to happen, obviously. But then again, what we're learning from the industry is a lot of restaurant partners actually want it. They'll be like, hey, boss, I don't want to go to the market at 5 a.m. in the morning. So they have to go to the Kacha Bazaar, which is the where they get the raw stuffs, right? So they don't want to go there. They want to relax at home. So can you add few stuffs with this order? We said no, not yet. So we're not gonna get into that business now. But yeah, going forward, if we see that all our restaurant partners want to buy, let's say, rice from us, then obviously we have an economies of scale. If I just give you one fact, even the packaging that we were buying 6 months ago, the cost with all the rising inflation, everything, but just because of the volume, we are now enjoying better cost from our suppliers. So again, for a restaurant buying like 1 kilo rice and us buying 100 kilo rice, obviously the price will be different. So we can transfer that as a reduction or let's say discount to the restaurant partners also going forward. But then again, that is far-fetched. If we want to actually go into the business going forward, then obviously there will be an opportunity because we have the partners ready anyway.
Okay, and I mean, in terms of partnerships at that level, are there any key partnerships that you've done with regards to the supply chain?
Yeah, I mean, kind of we're partnered with all the major, I'd say, meat suppliers, with all the majors, let's say, cheese suppliers. But because of the current situation, honestly, we had to focus on local producers. So the imported market, because of the whole supply chain issues, I mean, we had to stop purchasing imported goods. So obviously the government also is pushing us, in fact, all the industries to focus on local producers, buy locally, make locally. So for that reason, we had to go and change some of our suppliers and focus on, locally produced goods, so homegrown things. So yeah, I mean, but I honestly believe that, we all go through tough times. This is a tough time for the industry, which will pass. So once the global trade becomes normalized again, so we'll be able to get all the proper ingredients. And it's not that we're not getting it now, but obviously at a much higher cost. So that is, affecting our P&L. And on top of it, I think this is also an opportunity for us to help the restaurants more, because it's becoming almost impossible for them to make money at this point because of the rising cost. So we are kind of reducing our profit to the bare minimum now, building the market share now, letting more and more end consumers try our food. So we are giving subsidy to our restaurant partners so that they can make money.
Okay, yeah, I mean, and this is something that me and Razi picked up on when we're coming from Singapore, where food is a national pastime, and so we kind of understand the demand that food has and how that's core to culture. What we've noticed as well when we were in Pakistan only the other month was how integral food is to everything. Eating out is important as much as ordering out, and so even though we consider the impact of inflation and the impact of supply chain, people still want to eat out, and they're just looking for ways to make it manageable during these tough times. And potentially this is where you can come in. If you can help reduce the cost in supply chain, you can help these people, the restaurants, still sell into the markets that they're catering for.
Exactly. And on top of it, I just wanted to add something about Bangladesh. It's a very unique country with amazing growth potential. Even during this tough time, what we are saying, the government is looking for over 7% GDP growth the next fiscal year. So I don't think for the our consumers and consumers there is any tough time. So I believe people will keep on earning money, and once they have disposable income, they definitely spend it on food. And yeah, I mean, that's the beauty of having 160 million people with 50% young people, and young people are more likely to order online. So that's why we pick Bangladesh. And it's not that we have very good connection in India also. I mean, we could have started this business in India also, but we felt, okay, let's start with Bangladesh and then eventually roll out to India, because Bangladesh has amazing potential. I'm sure, because obviously you have also invested in a couple of startups in Bangladesh, you guys know that. So, I mean, for that reason, we're also hopeful that, even if there is a global recession, if that happens, I don't think much of it will impact Bangladesh. So let's see. Let's hope for the best. Yeah.
The other partners that you've mentioned, Patel, but there's foodpanda that operate in Bangladesh as well. What's their role? Do you see them as a partner, competition? What's the general thought around that?
foodpanda is one of those companies. I mean, obviously they're doing amazingly well. They are our delivery partners for a couple of outlets. But honestly, if we want to scale and, let's say hypothetically we want to start in 60,000 outlets, foodpanda won't be the ideal partner, only because their asking commission and everything is too high. My model honestly does not work. And this is something that we always discuss with the Panda people, right? You see, it's not going to work eventually, because if you take such a big pie, I can give you volume, I can give you a good number of orders, but honestly, this commission structure does not make sense in our model. So it's never going to work. And most of my restaurant partners are also not working with Panda because of the commission issues. But yeah, I mean, let's see, we're still discussing. They're still our partners. They do deliver for a couple of our outlets. But when we want to do it in a big scale, whether they would be the ideal partner or not, so I'm not still sure.
Okay, interesting, because we've heard that comment as well from experience in Pakistan. Right, Razi?
Yeah, I mean, we just, in the previous episode, we were having a chat with Pattern app. They're also in the F&B space, and they were also talking about the big challenge with these kind of delivery partners, where they take a huge commission and how that becomes cost prohibitive for the restaurants.
Yeah, and hence you see startups like Lunchbox from Nabil. So they are building, actually bringing a big revolution in the sector, where they're inspiring people, first to add this website on their own for restaurants, and also inspiring the consumers to order directly from the restaurants. So that's one thing. But I still believe, if at the end of the day, if I can reduce the delivery time for the aggregators, if I can place my outlets just next to the end consumers, and if I can give them volume, so these are things they will make money also. So it's not that I don't understand logistics business. Yes, we are not in the logistics business, but I still understand that part. So our goal is, we want to give them enough orders, or we want to reduce their delivery time, so that reduces their cost. And then at the end of the day, the support that Pathao and Hungry Naki is giving us with the commission that they're taking, I think it's a win-win situation for everyone. But if it's go above this, I mean, it doesn't work. It doesn't fit in our model.
I mean, and just to go back to the standard operating procedure that you've got with the restaurants, what happens if, let's say, there's me and Razi, we're running our restaurant somewhere within 250 meters of each other. I happen to deviate a little bit from your standard operating procedure. What's the impact? How do you? You've mentioned that you enforce it, but what do you enforce?
Yeah, a couple of things. I don't want to sound rude to my partners. They're everything that I have, but yeah, before they sign an agreement, the agreement is almost 22 pages long. So it's a very, I'd say, very difficult not to follow, because there are a lot of legal implications also. And then obviously at the end of the day, we have a standard. So our average review is currently 4.5 out of 5. If it comes below 4, your outlet is turned off. So if you want to do business, you better make sure that you follow our SOPs. Otherwise, if it comes below 4, then it's game over. But yeah, I mean, by all means, if you feel that, hey, I'm not able to make burgers, I don't have the resources, my main burger guy left, So what we'll do is we'll close this for you. We'll give you another brand. Okay, try an easy one, and we'll give it to someone
Okay.
else.
I mean, what I was thinking is, if I'm a restaurant and I want to cut a bit of corners, right? So maybe your SOP says to put 200 grams of meat in the burger. Maybe I just put 180 gram or 175 gram, and I keep cutting these kind of corners and see how it goes.
Yeah, you see, that's the beauty of tech, right? So you cannot do that. The whole recipe and everything is put in our software, so we can see the variance, how much you should order and how much you have ordered. So you can't escape no matter what. So obviously we are thinking of, having so many partners. Individually we cannot go and pick, right? So the solution will give me notification. This guy did not buy enough this month. Go and catch him. So that's also something we have in place.
That's very clever. I think that's quite clever.
Yeah, that's smart.
Because we know that what can go wrong, what they can do, and I mean, so we are building. Whenever there is a problem, we're trying to find the solution within our own operating system, not manually. We don't want to solve anything manually.
If we were to talk about the founding team, right? You mentioned that. Where are you all located?
Yeah. So currently, I'm in Canada. I come back and forth with Bangladesh. I'm actually going back to Bangladesh for good from December. So my journey ends here in Canada now. So I'm now fully being allocated to Bangladesh. Choyon is obviously in Bangladesh. He's looking after the operations. Dhrubajit is actually based out of Singapore. So he has been studying there for a long time. He has been working in the tech space. So he operates from Singapore. And Nafir is also based out of Dhaka. So three of us will be in Dhaka, Bangladesh, and then Dhrubajit will still be in Singapore. So that's the plan.
Okay. I mean, that's interesting to note for other people that are watching. Both me and Razi, we had this conversation about what's a red flag for a founder, and when we heard that you were in Canada, we said, okay, well, what's your commitment to this business if you're not actually in the geography of where you're trying to serve your consumer?
Yeah, honestly, initial days we used to see this question, big red flag. But when people used to say, this business is growing, they're doing remarkably well, they're winning everywhere they're going. So why this happened? It only was possible because in Bangladesh, I've been doing business from the age of 15. You ask me, any TV channel, anyone out there, do you need any connection? I'm the guy, I can help you with that because of the network that I have. So I don't have to necessarily be there to make anything work because just one phone call from my side is enough. But yeah, at one point it was possible. But now the volume that we're doing, the goal that we have, it's not possible anymore. So I need to go out there, and when things go wrong, I have to be there. So that's why we decided to relocate to Bangladesh, because now it's reaching a scale where I believe that I have to be physically there. So, I mean, now it makes more sense for me to go back.
Okay, see, in 6 months' time, you'll be based in Dhaka.
60 outlets, yeah. In 6 months, inshallah, I'll be in Dhaka, and 60 outlet is the target that we want to have by the end of this year. So that is almost, if I consider both Pathao and Hungry Naki outlets, that's over 120 internet restaurants out there. So it's going to be an interesting ride now. So we are obviously raising funds to add to that growth. So hopefully, now that obviously we have the Techne Ventures also joining us, there are hospitality focused guys. So they're also going to help us with, how to make this whole process more streamlined, how to, because at the end of the day, our business is in the process business, innovating the process. So they're obviously going to add a lot of value in this, how we can bring in more efficiency in the process also. So, yeah, so let's see.
Okay. And this is interesting because, again, for other angel investors looking to come in, these are good indicators that you've got investment from people who are experts in the industry. So, again, before we move on, can you just give an overview of what these different accelerator programs are? There's Impact Collective that you mentioned. What do they do? Exactly what value have they brought? And also with Techne Ventures, what they're going to be doing for you and how they're going to help you jump to that next level.
Sure. So we basically we have been part of three main accelerator programs. So the first one, obviously, Impact Collective, which is a community-based program where people from different backgrounds, from different industries come in and vote for all the selected startups. So there are a couple of other startups also very good. They're doing so well. And all of them have focus towards UN SDG goals. So we also focus on SDG 8 and 9. So we have our own impact story also. We have discussed it over time. So in that community, obviously, we were voted as one of the top, I think 9 or 7 startups out there. So there are a couple of others. There was one more from Bangladesh called Handy Mama. So that's one. And during this whole program, obviously, we had guys, angel investors there like yourself. And then we had people coming from different industries who obviously had sessions in terms of finance, or let's say in terms of scale growth. So they all did the different session, which is very common in other in other accelerator programs also. So but on top of it, what we felt was there was this opportunity to do one-to-one session with the people that we want to actually connect with. So we could pick, hey, this is the angel investor that I want to meet, and they would actually connect us with them. So anyway, eventually what happened was we developed a massive network with potential investors, and also we have raised an investment from the Ventures Korea, which is again another VC based out of Korea. So they have also invested a small portion. And then after that, obviously, we joined the Grameenphone Accelerator Program in Bangladesh, which is the largest accelerator program in Bangladesh, and that is supported by the Telenor Group. So there also we have received a grant, and on top of it, they have actually helped us, in I'd say, in terms of knowledge of doing business in Bangladesh while having a holdco in Singapore. What are the legal structures? How we can do things this way, and also they have helped us to connect with actual startup founders who have raised for Bangladeshi startups from across the globe. One of them being Chaldal founder Wasim Bhai. So there are a couple of others also. So that's one value that obviously Grameenphone Accelerator added. I have this whole post on my LinkedIn why people should join, or let's say upcoming startups should join the Grameenphone Accelerator program. And then finally, this new one is from the Techne Infinity Venture. This is again a VC firm. They have opened up their own venture builder program where they have brought in all the top hospitality guys from Silicon Valley and across the US, and they will be guiding us, how we can actually build Onnow to, take it to a global level, where we can scale very fast, where we can obviously, as I mentioned, that make the process more efficient using technology. So that's an amazing value that we are going to get from them, and obviously they will also invest in this round that we are raising.
How much are they investing?
So they have committed the minimum $50,000, so just same as Impact Collective, and then after that they will do the demo day where we'll be able to pitch to different investors from the same sector, and let's see what we can do on that demo day.
Okay, cool. Just go through the sustainable development goals. Which ones are you addressing?
So we're mainly focused on 2 SDG goals. I'll just go back to my slide. I don't know if I can still share it. So one is, okay, so I'll just say it very quickly. So one is obviously decent work and economic growth, which is 8, SDG goal 8, and obviously an industry innovation. So both of them, mainly the focus is about, generating employment, helping people, especially SME restaurants, make money, and making sure that all this happens while, they have access to a very cost-effective and I'd say free of cost technology. So that's also something that we are using. So it's like using technology to provide equal opportunities and decent work for everyone. So that's what we're focusing on.
Okay, great. So in terms of your... Oh, go ahead, Percy.
I was going to ask, because on the slide you mentioned that you have done USD $210,000 of GMV. Yeah. So the question that I had was, what are the metrics to measure the success? What are the metrics that you're going to be looking at to measure your success besides the GMV?
Okay, so yeah, obviously GMV is good, but our main focus at this point, obviously, because we want our products to be well accepted by the secondary consumer. Okay, so what we every day on a daily basis that we track is the rating, the reviews. So the 4.5 that I have mentioned, average standard. So every night, even I personally do this before going to bed, I check the updated review for each and every single of my partners. I think now we have almost 25 running outlets. So this is something that we do without fail. That is the most important metrics, how well the end consumers are accepting my brands, right? So after that, obviously there are other ratings that, what retention rate we have, even though we don't have that much of data because of the data is mostly staying with the aggregators, right? So once we have our D2C, we'll have access to more data like retention and all that. But obviously when we do reach out to them for any kind of data support, they definitely give us that support also. And on top of it, ensuring that at least there is 25% month-on-month growth. So that is also something that we focus on at this stage. Until December, we're going to ensure that. And yeah, so these are the couple of things that we focus on in terms of numbers.
Growth in terms of volume of orders, GMV?
Volume of orders, yeah, volume of orders.
Okay, right.
And what's the team size currently, and what's the monthly burn rate?
So we are at almost 23 people working now, and including the founding team. So we are burning almost 10. Oh, now the rate has changed. Dollar rate has changed significantly. It has increased. So it should be around $10,000 if I give you a ballpark figure.
$10,000. And you mentioned from the GMV right now. I mean, I did a quick calculation. You're doing about $15,000 of GMV per month, of which 60% you said is.
This month, inshallah, we'll do $22,000.
What's your customer acquisition cost?
Now, this is also very interesting. We cannot attribute exactly, because obviously we don't have the D2C model. So it comes from the aggregator, right? So an average, if I tell you that, just give me, I'll give you a ballpark figure. It's around $45. It's less than $1. So it's, I'd say 50 pence, cents.
That's less than $1.
Yeah. To acquire a secondary customer. So okay, so we have two customers, right? We also consider our restaurant partners as our primary customer. Obviously, that has a much higher customer acquisition cost. It should be around, let's say, 20, or I'd say $100. Let's put a ballpark figure: $100 to acquire one primary customer. And then once that is sorted, then we focus on the secondary customer, that is the end consumers. Let's say if you want to order a burger. So that is also something that it's very important for us. So that should be less than $1 for us to acquire that customer.
The D2C platform, right? When are you planning to launch a D2C platform? Because I think that's where you would probably see a growth in the volume, and you have a lot more visibility on the numbers, right? Like you're saying, Padao and your other partner don't share those figures with you. So when is the plan to launch the Onnow D2C platform? Yeah,
so we are doing the development phase, I'd say. So it should be around August that we will be able to launch the beta for some of the outlets, not all of them, because we want to first try with some outlets and then officially roll out within December. So that's the whole plan. So there are a couple of things. I mean, it's not just any D2C, it's a very powerful D2C with, loyalty and everything. And obviously it has to be connected with that device that I've shown you. So a lot of work has to be done with that. So for that, we're taking time. By all means, again, we 100% believe in growing our business with Patao and Hungry Naki. The D2C is not to take away their orders. The D2C is mainly, obviously, for the data that we believe that we are missing out on. So that is the main focus.
And earlier, when you mentioned that the burn rate is about $10,000 a month, does that also include the R&D and the creation of the brands that you're mentioning? Remember, you're saying that you're focused on creating multiple brands, right? Is that also included?
Yeah, 100%. I'm cooking whole day. I mean, our R&D chef, even everyone, 4 of us, we cook every day and come up with new concepts. Still, we are very much focused on doing the day-to-day things, all of us. Because especially last month, we stopped the hiring for temporarily, and we said, we all have to take at least 3 to 4 persons role. So that's what we do now. So, R&D also something that we are all doing continuously. And then, obviously we have a whole iterative process of doing the R&D. So it's not that we just make the food once. So it takes almost 3 months to launch one brand. So it's not a very easy process. There's so much tasting out there, market tasting, expert tasting, and then we come up with a menu. But what we have done is, for the time being, we have stopped building new brands. Why? Because we have so many already, which are doing very well. Now we want to just add the restaurant partners and take these brands and increase their footfall, increase their network. So that's what we're doing now. So now the focus is just keep on adding partners for the existing brands that we have.
In terms of what you're raising, what you've got left to raise now, can you just review how much you've raised so far out of the total amount, what's left, and how are you raising? Is it through a safe note, debt? How are you doing that?
So we did pre-seed when we started. Obviously, we have also bootstrapped. So we've put in a lot of money from our pockets initially. So including that, we have raised $120,000 that was for pre-seed. And then this seed that we have started this year started with the ventures from Korea. So they have invested $50,000. The terms were very straightforward. It's a safe note. And the same terms that we're going to do now also, even though we have grown crazy from January to June now. Still, we're keeping the same valuation. So it's going to be $2 million pre-money. 15% discount rate, and over a safe note, holding company in Singapore. So that's what we're doing now. So on the same terms, we have companies like the VC coming in with $50,000. We have almost $50,000 coming from 2 angel investors. Unfortunately, I cannot name them at this point because we are yet to disclose that. And so that leaves me with $100,000. We have a lot of soft commitments, interest, but we don't have anything rigid yet. So we are still welcoming a minimum of check size $25,000.
Okay, got it. So it's a $25,000 minimum check size. You've got a $2 million pre-money valuation cap. Is that correct?
Yeah. Correct.
Okay, and a 15% discount. And what's your current valuation? What have you currently got yourself valued at?
2.5. But unfortunately, I don't know why the speed has been a bit slow, because we have already committed all these guys who are coming in now, the angel investors. When we started discussion at that time, the valuation was 2 million. So now that we are closing with them, we didn't increase the valuation even though we have grown our business. So we said, okay, since we have already I've given my words for 2 million, let's stick to that. But if any angel wants to come in, then it's going to be the same term. So I don't want the whole round has to have the same valuation. That's what I felt. So we're going to stick to $2 million.
So your valuation cap on the safe note with Impact Collective is 2 million.
Yep.
Okay, and your current valuation is already above that. But shouldn't that mean that your safe note should convert to equity?
Yeah, so the way it works, the share value will change. For Impact Collective, there will be a different share value when we actually do the price round. So the others with a different so not discount rate, the other different cap. So their share values will be different when we actually convert. So we are taking like a safe over safe. So that's what we're doing now.
What is the potential exit, Tahmid?
There are a couple. Happy to share that, even Bangladeshi startups are now being pushed by the government to go IPO. That's one. The standard one, IPO is now possible for Bangladeshi startups. A lot of them are prepared to do that also. So we're going to see the very first startup from going into IPO. That's one. On top of it, what we see is a bigger opportunity is for a lot of aggregators actually to acquire us. Let's say going forward, 5 years or 8 years down the line. Because obviously we'll have a huge network in the market by then. We'll have our own proprietary brands. We have the whole tech solution. They will have a ready customer base, ready business to acquire. And obviously, since they're doing the logistics business, it makes more sense, obviously, to add this vertical also. So when they have fully, I'd say utilized their logistics game, they can join this vertical. We have seen this from a lot of Indian companies like Swiggy. They have been building their own brands also. So, that's also an opportunity for them. Maybe Swiggy can buy us out.
Okay.
Are they also in Bangladesh? No, right?
Not yet. No, Swiggy is not yet. Yeah.
So the other question I have really around the competitive landscape is really how are you defending? How defensible are you? A lot of people call it the competitive moat. Some would call it your unfair advantage. What is it that makes you able to keep ahead of the competition and new entrants?
Yeah, two things. Obviously, one is being very much light on both expense and asset. That's one thing. And for any large corporation, let's say, because honestly, we compete with all the global brands because we are empowering SME partners to fight with the KFCs and the Pizza Huts, right? So obviously, what we feel that our speed of innovation cannot be matched by them. Being a startup, obviously, the whole team is focused on, coming, like I mentioned, like our co-founders were cooking every day, coming up with new items, innovating in the product line, bringing in changes, right? So this is also something that we believe that it's not so easy for the corporations, right? Even if KFC wants to add a new menu, they have to go through 100 people, need to sign on it, right? So for us, it's pretty easy. So we want to make the whole innovation part super fast, so that if something does not work, get it out of the menu, add something that works. So that's something that we focus on. On top of it, we want to make sure that our cost in terms of expenses and everything is as low as possible. And not only for today, just because we're a startup, we'll maintain this going forward also so that we don't, significantly burn on salaries and all those things.
What is the runway that you have right now?
Runway, we have almost for 6 to 8 months we have easily. Yeah, because we are just closing almost $150,000, right? So now we're going to focus more. But again, since the next round we are going to do $500,000 at $5 million valuation, so I want to start preparing for that because obviously we never stop raising funds, right? That's what a lot of experts say. So once I'm able to close this, so then I can focus on the next one. So there are also a couple of VCs that have shown interest for our next round of $500,000. So within 1 year, we are just doubling the valuation. So from 2.5, we'll go to, and raise into 5 million. So there's a plan for next year. I think we had an interesting discussion. I think there are a lot of things we have discussed. But on top of it, if anyone wants to know more, obviously they can do it through Osman Razi. They can reach out to me. On top of it, I'm very much active on LinkedIn, so they can search Tahmid Zaman on LinkedIn, and I'll be happy to discuss for any potential deals.
So thank you, Tahmid, for spending some time with us to share more about Onnow and what you are building in Bangladesh. So all of you have heard from Tahmid, you've seen what he's building, and if you're interested in investing in the startup, do get in touch with him via LinkedIn. And if you enjoyed this episode, please like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you in a future episode. Thank you.